And President Trump has signed an executive order to change the name of the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has more now from New York.
With a stroke of President Trump's pen, workers began removing the old letters spelling out the Department of Defense at the Pentagon. For the first time since 1947, it will be called the Department of War.
I think it's a much more appropriate name, especially in light of where the world is right now. We have the strongest military in the world.
The Department of War was first established in 1789 before the name was changed by President Truman after World War II. Changing it back is meant to project power and military toughness around the world.
Mr. President, we haven't won a major war since, and that's not to disparage our warfighters, whether it's the Korean War, the Vietnam War, or our generation of Iraq and Afghanistan. That's to recognize that this name change is not just about renaming, it's about restoring.
The name change comes as the White House faces criticism for taking out a boat it says carried 11 Venezuelan drug smugglers and their cargo in the Caribbean. Navy ships have moved into the area, and now F-35 fighter jets are being moved to Puerto Rico. President Trump calls the smuggling of dangerous drugs into the U.S. an imminent threat.
I just think it's strong. We're strong on drugs. We don't want drugs killing our people.
When asked if Congress has to sign off on the name change, President Trump said he's sure they will go along with it if it's needed. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
The Trump administration says it's now looking into whether the federal government can take control of the 9/11 Memorial and Museum in New York City. The site sits in Lower Manhattan, where the Twin Towers were hit by hijacked jetliners back in 2001. The White House does confirm that preliminary discussions are underway. Museum officials, though, say that the federal government can't legally take over that site since it's on land that's owned by the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Meanwhile, former President Joe Biden has selected Delaware as the home of his presidential library. A group of his former aides and political allies will soon start to fundraise and look for a site for that museum and archive. The Joe and Joe Biden Foundation approved a governance board just this past week, which is in charge of that project. And over 600 police officers are training this week for riots. Officers from nearly 20 different agencies, including Capitol Police and Secret Service, trained together in an effort to sharpen coordination among those agencies and avoid security breakdowns like the ones we saw on January 6th. They worked on formations, rapid communication, and used drones and mobile command posts to improve response times. 2025, we know, is on track to bring more threats against members of Congress than any other year in history.